Welcome back into the Sean podcast. I myself, the Big Ush, back again. Over here with me, my cohort, partner in crime, the Cat Daddy. You'll never catch him. Cat Daddy, what's on your mind?
Man, we had another good week of football. Our teams won, so recording these is so much better when we walk away with a victory. So we saw some exciting games. We saw some questionable calls from the referees, but
some.
But the good news is, we learned how to circumvent the taunting rule. Direct it toward the crowd.
This is true. Well, getting right in the mix. So first I'd like to say this. Sean, did you know this past weekend was the worst betting weekend for Las Vegas ever?
Ever? What made it? What made it the worst?
Every favored team covered. Every single team that was favored did not just win, they covered the spread.
Interesting. Wow, Vegas must not be happy about this. We'll see some adjustments to the lines this week.
They were not happy at all. But jumping into those, let's go for that first game, that Thursday night game, which was closer than what people were expecting. The Bucks facing those Eagles in Philadelphia, and you know the Eagles put up a proper fight. I'm gonna say this, Eagles fans, Jalen Hurts is not your problem. You got so many other issues that are going on, especially on defense. But I mean, this is what happens when you only pay attention to the defensive line and don't pay attention to any other position. I know people are going to say, well, they traded for Darius Slay. Yes, they've traded for an old corner who can still play, but isn't as good as he used to be. Sean, you any thoughts here?
I think Philadelphia has a lot of problems. I'm not just talking injuries or focusing on like one specific piece for the offseason. I want to turn my attention to the offense because it doesn't seem like Nick Sirianni knows what he's doing on offense. Now, whether this is coincidence or design, Jalen Hurts currently leads the team with 300 rushing yards on the season. That means he's averaging 50 rushing yards per game, and that leads the team. He has 53 carries on the year. That's second on the team to Miles Sanders, who only has 57.
This is nonsense.
Nobody on this team is averaging more than 10 carries per game. Miles Sanders is sitting at about 9.5.
There's more issues with this offense also. Well, I mean, first of all, you remember, I said that Nick Sirianni doesn't know how to use a quarterback like Jalen Hurts. That's what, like, they were throwing all those screen plays and getting all those penalties against Dallas, and I'm like, this is not how you use this guy. You need those linemen to stay there. Don't have them downfield. But more so, what did Devonta Smith do in this game? Honestly, this is what I keep saying. He's a talented guy, but you have to manufacture touches. You can't just sit there and line him straight up and have him go. Yes, he might have some numbers and he might beat some guys at times, but you need to manufacture touches, get him in the open field, and let him do what he does.
And yeah. I will agree that he is better when he can manufacture and create for him. Nick Sirianni cannot create, or he has not shown us that he can create. Now, assuming these candidates would have been interested, they could have had Eric Bieniemy. They could have had Byron Leftwich. They could have had Brian Daboll.
Hey.
3 top offensive coordinators right now, leading top offenses who could have been a good pickup for this team last year. But that's if they wanted that position. Now, when we talked last year about this opening, nobody wanted this position. I don't think either you or I were going to be willing to take that position.
You know what the funniest part about Nick Sirianni is? So I don't know if you watched the game. I did. The broadcast. And Troy Aikman came in and said, because he was talking about how you talk to Nick Sirianni. And Nick Sirianni calls plays. But he's never called plays before, people.
Yeah.
This is a guy who has designed offenses as an offensive coordinator, but never called plays. Andy Reid calls plays. And Troy Aikman asked him, he's like, did you ever think of like having someone else call plays? And Nick Sirianni responded, no, this is my expertise.
Okay, well, he needs to work on that.
No. When and where? If you've never called plays, how can calling plays be your expertise? I get it. Nick Sirianni, you're very dreamy. The soccer moms love you.
That's a big demographic for these football games. Yeah.
But
Broadcast numbers in Philadelphia are way up this season.
getting lost in those eyes. But sometimes you got to know your liabilities or you know your limitations. Now, not to spend any more on this, let's get to some of these other games. There was a London game, which was actually fairly entertaining. And
Was
again,
it? You're calling it entertaining?
Hey, there was some fireworks in this game. Come on now. Yes, it's two bad teams. But it's two bad teams actually playing well against bad teams. But, again, the issues for both of these teams are not the quarterbacks. There's all sorts of issues elsewhere, especially in Miami. But, I mean, you could say Miami's biggest issues are injuries. How many corners were they down?
They're without their top two. They're missing three of their top four wide receivers.
Dang.
I think for Miami, though, it's similar to Philadelphia, where the play calling, oh, man, they need some of their play calling because I don't know if it was due to the ridiculous pressure that Tua was under this entire game, but they had very inconsistent usage at the running back position.
But if you looked, when Tua went downfield, I know they had some stuff, but Tua was usually successful going downfield. It was when they kept going short where things were working out.
Oh, you mean that 25-yard play they got on third down? Oh, wait, no, that was Jacoby Brissett they put in there. Oh, man.
No, there was other plays that they had that Tua went downfield on with mostly Mike Gesicki. And, I mean, it's hard when you got Mac Hollins in there. Don't get me wrong, I love Mac Hollins. I'm a UNC guy, but he's not a starting wide receiver.
Nope. But speaking of play calling, I enjoyed the play calling and the strategy by the Jacksonville Jaguars at the very end of the game.
Oh, someone had some good decision making.
Now, I don't know if that was Urban Meyer.
Nice about somebody?
I don't know if that was Urban Meyer or Darrell Bevel.
No.
Oh, no.
No. When it comes time to go for it, here's the thing. The play calling itself is Darrell Bevel. But in situational football, the decision to go for it on fourth down, that's on the head coach.
Yeah.
So that was Urban.
Then that was a good call by Urban because you have, and it wasn't just for the game. This was a 4th and 8 play where they did that little slant and left 1 second on the clock. It wasn't just we have a second shot if this one fails. No, this was we're putting it all out there. We're counting on this play because it's 4th down, and if we don't convert those 8 yards and stop the clock, it's pretty much going to be the foolish play of the year, which would go right along with everything else for Urban Meyer this year.
So by the way, there is one team left that does not have a win. Just saying, just throwing that out there because there was a discussion last week. There's one team out there that does not have a win. Moving on. Do you want to get to your game now?
No.
Or do you want to wait?
No, we can wait. We'll go in order.
Wait. Well, no, it is in order. It is the next game I have up,
Oh,
queued up.
all right then.
But we'll wait.
You let me know. You let me
wait.
know. You're running this.
All right. So next we'll go to said game to make my segue actually happen with that 0-4 team. The Cincinnati Bengals went to Detroit and put a whooping on them Lions. I feel bad for Campbell. This Dan Campbell, I feel bad for that man. He must be. It's gonna be a rough year. He needs to be shown leeway with this team because this is going to be a process. I mean, your thoughts?
It's going to be a long and probably awkward season because there should have been games already that Detroit won. This game, for me, of the 6 games they've played, this one looks like the worst that they played. And you're running out of offensive weapons. You don't have many options for your quarterback to throw to with injuries. So it's just looking worse and worse. Penei Sewell had a little bit of an up and down year so far. And then you have a guy on the other side of the field, another rookie who's just torching you. A lot of problems, a lot of holes. But the good thing for Dan Campbell is he was not expected to come in and perform a one-year fix.
Yeah.
There's a long game being played here. It's going to be, I'm guessing, into Dan Campbell's 3rd year until they start really being competitive.
Speaking about a guy who most likely is not getting fired this year, no matter what the performance of the team is, even though I think his team has performed admirably, but his team had their worst performance of the year this past week. The Houston Texans went in Indianapolis and also got their butt stomped. It's not his fault. This is the thing. I know we poo-pooed on him as on his hiring, but I mean, what's he gonna do? Like, what is there to do here for him?
The Houston organization set him up for failure from the very beginning because you're thinking
They did.
you don't have a draft pick until the 3rd round, and then you spend your first draft pick on a rookie quarterback, which I thought was a really questionable move because they're really positioning themselves to be at the top of the 2022 draft and have their selection of a quarterback there. So I thought that selection of Davis Mills, not that he's not talented, but I didn't think that was a wise pick by them. They could have chosen any other position to draft and it would have been better suited for that team. But the other thing is they were signing free agents left and right in the offseason, but they were only signing free agents to 1-year deals, which means they're going to have massive turnover next year. So whatever chemistry, whatever cohesiveness they have developed this season is potentially all going to go away next season when you're having new people come in. They didn't do him any favors, and this was another job that neither of us would have wanted.
Now let's talk about the other side. The Colts are better than what their record is, but I don't think it's going to be as high as people originally thought the pick is going to be for Philly. But Carson Wentz has actually played well enough to be there. And I mean, they're gonna go probably 8-8. Oh no, not 8-8. We can 7-9.
No, they'd have to go 7-10 or 8-9.
Or 8-9.
Yeah,
and they're probably gonna go about 8-9. You think? Maybe 9-8.
I think it's gonna be one of those where it's the AFC South that they play in, so they still have a shot at the playoffs, considering the rest of the talent in there. But
not the way Tennessee's playing.
We'll get to that one shortly. But
no. That being said,
yeah,
this team. Am I wrong? But this team looked different with T.Y. Hilton back.
They played different. I don't know how much of that was T.Y. Hilton, but they definitely played better. Maybe it was against the competition. Maybe they just need one of those games where, all right, well, we got to kick somebody's
Maybe that
butts.
Ravens game sparked them.
That might have, yeah. It's very true.
Now, onward bound from here. Oh, good Lord. These games are all blowouts almost. So we have the Rams going to New York to face the Giants. And guess what? A team here got stomped. It was the Giants. And here's my problem with this. I know the Rams are good, but I don't think this is about the Rams here. Joe Judge came into the Giants. He's making them run wind sprints. He's doing all this crazy stuff that everybody's like, what's going on here? And then all the Joe Judge defenders were like, well, he's going to have the most disciplined team in the league. But they're not. They're still committing penalties at a high degree. They're doing stupid stuff like punching people in the helmet. Like, this is not a disciplined team. Not to mention, they're getting injured left and right. I don't know, Sean. Make it make sense.
I don't know if it's crazy what Joe Judge is doing. I guess he's trying to get back to fundamentals, but you're talking about grown men who have been doing this for half of their life, for most of their life, and you're trying to get back to fundamentals with everybody collectively. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but if I were a football player in that situation, I'd be thinking, this is amateur. It might be a slap in the face to the wrong player. And they came out. New York looked good at the beginning of the season. Daniel Jones was playing well. And yes, I know I said the Giants looked good. I know. But the injuries, they just couldn't keep up with the injuries because it seemed like they were missing 3 or 4 of their top receivers every game, and now you have no offensive weapons, and Saquon Barkley is injured again, and now you have Devontae Booker filling in for him.
But at the same time, they don't have these injuries on defense. And everybody talked about how this team was going to be ruled by the defense, and the defense was going to do this.
Well, they did have a big injury. They lost Blake Martinez early in the season. He was huge.
I know, but I mean...
They also lost, who they lose in the offseason? Dalvin Tomlinson. They didn't sign him. They chose Leonard Williams.
Dalvin Tomlinson going, people still believe this defense was going to be beast. And I'm sorry, if it takes a linebacker, no matter how good he is, going down to make your defense look like poo-poo, then your defense wasn't that good to begin with.
And there may be more to it. We would have to look into it deeper to see what kind of position does the offense put the defense in, where the turnovers are. Are they making the defense on the field for 60% of the game?
I mean, they did have turnovers in this past game, but there's other games where they've made teams have to drive, and the teams have answered the call. Now, for one team that's supposed to have a good defense to another, we'll go out to D.C., where the Chiefs walked in there. And you know something, for the first little bit, Patrick Mahomes did not look good.
Man,
and I was sitting there thinking, maybe Washington's defense is back. And then the second half happened.
No, they sure aren't. No, you know how I know they're not back? I have Montez Sweat in fantasy. You know how many points he got me this weekend?
Absolutely 0.
He got me 0. This Washington defense isn't back. This is a very underwhelming unit. There's a lot of talk coming into the season, which carried over from last year. They have the talent. They're adding people. They're not losing people on defense.
They did lose somebody, though, and that's going to be my question when you're done.
And they were supposed to have one of the most dangerous front fours in all of football, but what have we seen? We've seen underwhelming, underperforming play from them. We've seen plays where Chase Young's like, maybe I don't try as hard on this one. You know, maybe those commercials with me during the off season.
Some business decisions.
Yeah, maybe those commercials where I look like I'm working out and actually training for this. Maybe it's just for show. I don't know.
Definitely ain't like DK's commercial. So you know that dude works. No, the one I'm going to bring up, it's odd because he went to Philly. But Ryan Kerrigan, are they missing that leadership from Ryan Kerrigan?
They might. They may have. That's a really good question.
All right, now moving on to all right, I lost my words. I apologize. So I have no transition here. So I'm just going right into it. The Minnesota Vikings go out to Carolina And this was a fun one, actually. Came to overtime. Now, we're on record saying Minnesota's better than their record. Now, note, I don't think they're that great, but they're better than their record. Carolina has come down to earth like a bomb from heaven. Like, I mean, this is Lucifer with the fall. I'm just saying, like, goodness. Hopefully they can get together, especially when C-Mac comes back. But I think this game was more about Minnesota. Kirk Cousins showed up. Dalvin Cook showed up. Thielen showed up. That I'm not going to get into it. I'm a little butthurt, but that's okay. Sean, what you think about this game?
Carolina is overrated, and I think that was something I've been saying for the past week or maybe even a couple of weeks.
We both said it.
That, yeah, they started the season out hot.
Against bad teams.
I wanted Sam Darnold to do well, right? You want to see somebody who's that young
total regression,
and who has that much talent. You want to see him do well and succeed. And he did really well for the first 3-4 weeks of the year, but these last two games, you've seen that Sam Darnold from 2-3 years ago. You've seen him rear his ugly head out there. And this week, it hurt Carolina. For the first 58 minutes of this game, Sam Darnold played like garbage. Want to know what happened after the 2-minute warning? Whatever it was, he came back. He let him on, what was it, an 83-yard drive for a touchdown to tie it up. Get the 2-point conversion added in there. Like, that was a whole different Sam Darnold, but they need that for more than 2 minutes.
That makes you think, what would Justin Fields look like on this team? Just saying.
With Joe Brady?
Onwards.
That might be a good combination. Justin Fields,
Onwards
Joe
to
Brady.
your game. Green Bay went to Chicago, hostile territory, picked up a dub. Speaking of that aforementioned Justin Fields, who did not play poorly. No, he did have an interception, which he shouldn't have had. I'm just saying that's a mistake on the refs, and you can admit to it.
Hey, I'm not disagreeing with it.
I mean, they were offsides. He thought he had a free play.
He did. He did.
Where he was throwing that ball for the free play, I think he just decided, I'm just going to throw this away. And it wasn't away. But, again, this is what I'll say about it. First off, Aaron Rodgers, you own the Bears. It's just what it is. And Bear fans, don't freak out. If you can get some new management in there, the future is bright. Your thoughts on this one, Sean?
Aaron Rodgers roasted the Bears on the field, and then he roasted their fans after scoring that rushing touchdown. And I hear a lot of people are upset about it. And I have 2 points to make here. First, I'm going to imagine that this happens all the time where players talk trash back to the fans. And it just doesn't get caught on the mic. Second, we all know fans scream obscenities and insults at the players all the time, sometimes going as far as to wish them dead, send death threats.
We've heard that.
In this instance, Aaron Rodgers looked into the crowd after scoring the touchdown. Do you know what he saw? He saw
a woman giving them the double bird.
At least, yeah, I'm going to imagine there was more than just one person giving him the double bird, but yes, gave him the double bird. No, what? This.
I have an opinion.
Yeah.
All right, here's what I'll say. Nobody, I don't care how much money you pay. I really don't. Nobody has the right to abuse anybody. And fans, especially opposing fans, can be very abusive and obnoxious and just uncalled for. I mean, I had my sweater on today when going to get my tires changed. And I'm in Walmart getting my tires changed out. And one of the dudes who works for the body shop looks at me. He's like, "So how the cowgirls doing?" And I'm like, no, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I've learned to like live with this. So I take it with grace. And I just told him, I was like, awesome. He's like, well, I was like, we're 5-1, son. So, and enough said. But it's the whole fact of the matter. If that's what they're saying to somebody who's just a random person, what do you think they say to a player on an opposing team?
Yeah.
Hell, I've seen them, as a Cowboys fan, I've seen them abuse their own players on the team. And my whole point is this. I'm sorry, I loved it. Any player who wants to retaliate in that situation the way Aaron Rodgers did, go ahead, do your thing, bro.
Yeah, I got no problem with it. I have no problem when Randy Moss comes into Green Bay, scores a touchdown, and then pretends to moon the crowd. I have no
Because of
problem with
why,
that.
though? Why did he do it, though? You know why he did it, right?
I'm sure he wasn't instigated by any fans because
So Randy's story is this. Every time they would come to Green Bay, there was fans that would line up and moon them. So it was just him saying, every good turn deserves another.
yeah, it's.
I love Randy Moss, by the way, so you know.
But I wasn't upset by that, right? Hey, you score the touchdown, you make the play. If that's how you want to celebrate, go for it. As a fan, you're not helping anything. I mean, not
But here's
you
the thing.
specific, but you in the general sense.
Here's the thing. As long as you're not pulling a Ron Artest or Meta World Peace, whatever you want to call him.
Well, he was Ron Artest at that time, I think. Yeah.
Right.
He,
As long as you're not pulling
Malice in the Palace. Yeah.
I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that was... And no, those fans were uncalled for in that palace. But that is not a reaction that you get to do.
No, people don't.
You want to yell back at them? Go ahead and yell.
People don't appreciate how much of a privilege it is to really go to these games and watch these games live and have those good
Seriously.
seats. And then they do foolish things where,
Well, we'll talk about that in a later episode.
oh yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, that gets to the extreme. But if you want to talk trash to the players, don't be surprised when they talk trash to you. You're not invincible.
And I'm all for it.
Hey,
I mean, don't be Kevin Garnett.
I mean, if
No, not Kevin Garnett. Kevin Durant.
you're
I love Kevin Garnett.
if you want to have the testicular fortitude to try and trash talk one of these professional athletes who's probably heard more and worse from everybody else their entire career, hey, you have to expect it in return. So if you want to get foolish and try and be faceless and attack these people on any type of social media, well, don't be surprised when they retaliate against you as well.
Right, right. I'm just saying, don't be Kevin Durant. That's a little. I mean, that's some uncalled for stuff. But I mean, if these guys come back at you, because I mean, I hear people's like, "Well, we pay," and I don't care how much you pay.
You know,
It does not give you the right to get abusive.
no, it does
Anyways.
not. You don't have the right to verbally assault a person just because you pay for a ticket. This isn't whatever that restaurant is.
Okay, we've preached about it long enough. Let's move
Bears
on to the next
win.
game.
Oh wait, they didn't.
Ooh. All right, the next game is the most surprising game of the week for me. Those Chargers went into Baltimore and they got hammed on. And all right, I know Brandon Staley is like everybody's new flavor of the week coach, but he did some stupid stuff in this game. Am I wrong?
It's only stupid when it doesn't work, and so far it has worked, and he's looked good. He's looked like a genius for it, but you know that over a long enough timeline, some of these are not going to work. Some of these are going to fail, and this just happened to be that week for him. Now, it sucks when you have two MVP caliber quarterbacks going against each other with Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert. This is not the week that you want to be on the losing end of those decisions.
But I'm sorry, 4th and 5 in your own end. And I'm not talking about at the 40-yard line. What was it, at the like 25 to 30? This is nonsense.
Yeah, it was. You have to appreciate the aggressiveness, no matter the outcome. You have to appreciate the aggressiveness that was there.
I mean, he's got testicular fortitude, I guess. Now, that being said, Lamar's looking pretty good. He didn't throw for too many yards, but he did enough to be efficient. And I mean, he didn't have to be crazy. And then we had a nostalgia of running back. Latavius Murray, Le'Veon Bell, and Devonta Freeman.
Yeah, man.
All scored touchdowns.
It's like 2015 all over again.
Now, all that being said, just moving on. Going off over to another game going to the Midwest here. The Cardinals leaving the desert, visiting Cleveland, and just putting a hurting on them Browns. Goodness.
Kyler Murray doing Kyler Murray things.
It wasn't even Kyler Murray, though, really. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury just has his team doing it. They believe.
I know, and the crazy thing is, Cliff Kingsbury wasn't even at this game. He was sitting at home. He was sitting in his nice living room. He was probably doing the draft, watching this game. He had no communication with his team, but his team didn't disappoint. If you didn't know
he did not.
Cliff Kingsbury
was... he did not. Oh, please. He had... I'm sorry. I find it hard to believe these coaches don't find a way to have communication.
Well, not that we know of yet. I'm pretty sure there was too, but I'll say what I know. What I know is he was supposed to not communicate with the team.
Now, talk about a nostalgia resurgence. I see you, AJ Green.
We see you.
You're doing some things. Got out of Cincinnati and you're just like, I can still play. Hey.
Just not for Cincinnati. It was a change of scenery, change of offensive philosophy, whatever that might have been.
And also, he's not the man.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins, Newt, he's the man. So taking that step back as that number 2 guy, it's helping him out.
Yeah, he doesn't have skill, but he doesn't have the skill set to be the reliable number 1 week in, week out. Like this game, he led the team, he was second on the team with 6 targets.
But even with it, he doesn't have to worry about that. So he's not stressing his body like he used to. He's playing probably pretty loose. Not putting his body in like bad situations just to try to like force a play because he's the only person they got. All right, moving on. So the Raiders went over to your neck of the woods in Denver, and this game was not as close as the score made it seem.
No.
The Raiders beat the Broncos 34-24. Derek Carr looked good again. I don't know. You know something? Correct me if I'm wrong here, but it kind of looked like a weight was just lifted off this team, and they played kind of like almost carefree. I don't know. You tell me.
I didn't know what to expect with Las Vegas when they came out. You're thinking everything that happened with Gruden. Some players are happier than others. Some players more sad. And you're thinking, we don't know what to expect. Like you're going to the special team coach. Who's
very respected.
He is, and I think that was a wise move by Las Vegas by putting him in charge as the interim head coach. I mean, he got his first coaching victory in his first attempts. He almost beat Urban Meyer, but Rich Bisaccia got his first win in the continental United States. Try and beat that, Urban Meyer. But, we didn't know what to expect, and they came out, and they looked really good. I thought that defense played as well as it has all season, if not better. You thinking Max Crosby came out, he got 5 sacks that game?
With his hair on fire.
Everything was on fire. He was disrupting the Denver offense the entire game, and we saw Teddy Bridgewater almost revert to the 2020 version of Teddy Bridgewater.
Back down to earth.
Almost like, actually, similar to Sam Darnold, where we saw a little bit of regression after a hot start. I'm thinking the same thing with Teddy Bridgewater now. Will it help when Jerry Jeudy comes back? I'm hoping it does.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, Judy's a hell of a talent. So we'll see if it can be salvaged. Onward that was the game of the week for about a day. The Dallas Cowboys went into New England, faced those Patriots, and this was a game. Now note, the Cowboys almost let New England win this game. I'm gonna be honest with you, New England wasn't even like the talent level and the way of play. It wasn't that close. It really wasn't. Dallas,
Shouldn't have been.
you look at the numbers, they dominated this game. But there was with the refs. I sent it out there. Tyron Smith got called for 2 holding penalties that weren't real. Connor Williams had multiple penalties that weren't real. Micah Parsons got called for a horse collar that wasn't real. I mean, there's probably half the penalties on Dallas. They weren't real penalties. Then again, once again, Dax sneaks the ball into the end zone, and they call him down. Sean, I ask you, if your whole body is in the end zone, what would you call that?
It's tough because they weren't able to see where the ball was in relation to the
I
rest
don't
of his
care.
body.
His whole entire body was in the end zone.
I think this is something that the refs need to reevaluate with their mechanical issues or whatever they want to refer to these things as. And
It doesn't
really,
matter where you see, unless the ball was in his ankles.
could have been.
There's no way you can tell me that is not a touchdown.
I know, but the dangerous thing is if you make that decision without seeing where the ball is, that opens up a whole new precedent where you're going to see referees calling or
They've done it
overturning
before.
calls when they can't see it or they have no evidence to piece together
done
where
it
the ball
before.
is.
It's easy. You see him from the line where the ball is, and then you see where his body ends up. It's very easy.
Well, we'll have you
There's
talk with the head of
no-
officiating.
I will clear my schedule. Trust me, because we got more to talk about than just that. Anyways, Dak threw for 445 in this game. CeeDee Lamb had a career game. The Cowboys do walk out with the win. And the only other thing I need to talk about here, Nincompoops on Twitter. You people are idiots. Trayvon Diggs is a stud. Kendrick Bourne did not burn him. Him and DeMonte Casey made a mistake. They both thought each other were going to pick off the ball, so they both let up. It was a dumb mistake, but Bourne did not just burn him. Also, that being said, people out there acting like Darrelle Revis or Deion Sanders or any other shutdown corner has never been burned for a touchdown. You people are idiots. Wake up. You got any other thoughts, Sean?
Other thoughts? I thought it was a very efficient outing from Mac Jones.
But that's what I was going to say on that, but I was going to save it till later. That long touchdown, that 75-yard touchdown, Mac better be careful in the future. Because if Trayvon doesn't let up, that's his second interception of the game.
That would have been.
Just saying.
Yep. I was surprised when that I didn't see that one go the other way.
All right. But yes, Mac Jones did have an efficient game. He did play well within his thing. He actually played better than I've seen him play this year. They opened up the playbook for him.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a couple of weeks getting used to live game action for a full 4 quarters. Yeah.
All right, next up. You thought that London game was bad.
Oh, man.
You guys didn't watch Sunday Night Football, did you? The Seahawks went into Pittsburgh to face the Steelers, and nobody wanted to win this game. It came down to overtime. The Steelers finally got in position because Geno fumbled, and they got the field goal. I'm going to let you have it, Sean, because I'm going to be honest, I don't care.
I mean, let's be really honest about this. This game had absolutely no business going into overtime.
No, it didn't.
Now, a win will mask a lot of flaws. They'll hide the truth. But what do we see truth-wise? Pittsburgh and Najee Harris should have run all over that Seattle defense.
Should have.
Should have. And the Pittsburgh defense played horrible in the third quarter, allowing Seattle to get back in this game. That was unacceptable. Now, in overtime, you have TJ Watt saving the game. Huge third down sack on Seattle's opening drive in the overtime, forcing the punt. Then one play into Seattle's second overtime drive, he gets that strip sack on Geno Smith, which set up the game-winning field goal. This game had no business going to overtime. And are we still doing the WTF moments?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, I forgot to do mine.
Perfect. My WTF moment, when Russell Wilson came on the field after Freddie Swain recovers DK Metcalf's fumble, and there was no penalty called for him. He was on the field pretty much screaming at Freddie Swain to run the ball to the middle of the field so they can save as much time on the clock as possible, creating this whole ordeal where we have to wait like 5 to 10 minutes before the game actually resumes. Where was the penalty called for that? And what was Russell Wilson thinking? Because he doesn't have a jersey on right then. He should have been on the sidelines. He should have been flagged. They should have been pushed back 5, 10, 15 yards. Time run off the clock, depending on how you want to penalize that. Game should not have gone to overtime for that reason too, not just because the Pittsburgh imploded.
I'm also with that. This is not going to be my WTF moment. But what was with that replay? What was that nonsense? What was with reviewing the play?
I guess they wanted to make sure that DK Metcalf had performed the catch to its definition, and there was no ball being loose or before he made his football move. I don't know.
Nonsense.
Took too much time though.
All right, onward bound to the Monday night game, which I think was actually the game of the week.
That was really good.
The Bills went down to Tennessee, and Tennessee shocked them with Derrick Henry just beating up on them. And they beat them 34-31. First thing I'd like to say, Louis Riddick is probably the best thing about ESPN. Just saying, that dude is actually fantastic. He makes the announcers for Monday Night Football watchable again, because for years they were not watchable. I had to put that on mute and listen to other things. Now,
that's how I watch a lot of my games.
That being said, this has my WTF moment. This game. Josh Allen, what the hell was that? The quarterback sneak? I get Simmons is a monster. But not one of them, but both of his. You were too big to be getting shut down like that on quarterback sneaks.
He slipped.
This ain't Dak's situation.
He slipped. That's what it was. It wasn't.
No. What about the other one? Where he tried to go to the other side and he got shut down again.
Oh,
No.
yeah, that one.
I think
Not
he's
towards
just
the end of the
not
game,
good
though.
at quarterback sneaks. And you need to stop calling quarterback sneaks with Josh Allen. This ain't the refs screwing them like they do Dak, because, Dak goes straight through. No, Josh Allen, I have no clue what he's trying to do when he goes to do a quarterback sneak.
Don't worry. If this was a game against Dallas, then Buffalo would have had the first down right there.
Oh, of course they would have. Don't get me started on my conspiracy theories. All right, Sean, you give your opinion on this game.
You say that Tennessee shocked them. This is a Tennessee team or a Tennessee performance that I would have expected last season. So if this had been game one of the season, I don't think this would have been a shock. I don't think there would have been the shock factor there. I think we're seeing more of what Tennessee really looks like.
But let's be honest. Judging from what happened in this game, Buffalo should have won this game.
Oh, agreed.
Honestly, Buffalo
should have won.
Dominated majority of this game. Where Tennessee won this game was in the red zone.
Yep, I mean, Buffalo's moving the ball whenever they wanted to. It's very unfortunate at the end for Buffalo that Josh Allen slips. Jeffrey Simmons comes in. I mean, yeah, that's just a small piece to it. I mean, this game gave us some really good highlights. We had Derrick Henry busting off a 76-yard touchdown run. We saw a very fun and acrobatic catch by Julio Jones as a ball deflected off Micah Hyde's helmets.
But I'm just saying, you had I think it was 3 trips to the red zone where Buffalo either got no points or got 3 points.
How did Buffalo's season end last year?
True.
Yeah.
True. Anyways, moving on from this one, Sean, we gotta roll out because we gotta get some more other stuff on the flip. So, words of wisdom on this week.
Man, you're a fan. You like your team. I like the Packers, right? The Packers' mortal enemy would be the Chicago Bears. I don't have to hate Chicago Bears. I don't have to hate Bear fans. In fact, I know a lot of Bear fans, and yes, we have some witty banter go back and forth about how our teams play and how the opposing teams play, but there's no disrespect there. So to you fans who are disrespectful of other people because of what team they root for, bro, come on. There's no place for that. There's no place for it.
Indeed. I completely second that. I've been preaching this for years. You know, we do not have to have a lack of decorum. My words of wisdom. Hey, Vegas, work on your spreads.